All right, Shalom. It's your brother Shabbat from the Phoenix Camp. With that being said, we're going to give our honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Kakadash. Double honor to the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the brothers that are doing this work in truth and sincerity. And we're going to jump right into the scriptures. Exodus 20:1, it says, And Yahweh spake all these words, saying, I am the Most High, thy power, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, man. And we are once again in the land of Egypt, in the land of bondage, man. Because that's what Egypt is. That it is a land of bondage. So let's get that word bondage right there. Slaves, a house of slaves, man. So we are most definitely a slave here in America, here in Babylon the Great, here in Egypt, man. But this is spiritually Egypt. You know, if you do your research, you know that every American citizen is born into debt. So in order to pay off that debt, he is pretty much essentially made a slave. So we are in the house of bondage. We are in the spiritual Egypt. And we are going to be redeemed out of this place by the Most High, man. And that redemption, that salvation is only for the elect in this time and age. Ultimately, it's going to be for all the nation of Israel, man. So the Lord's only dealing with the elect, like we always say. And the Lord's only dealing with the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the elect of those people. And you confusion of face, because they're going to be Israelite men, elect men, they're going to look like these other nations. They're going to look like a so-called white man. They're going to look like a so-called Chinese man, a so-called Arabian man, so on and so forth, man. So this is not like they like to call it, black Hebrew Israelites. You know, we are Hebrew Israelites. We are different shades of brown, and also we look like all the other nations upon the earth, man. So with that, I'm going to get a few scriptures. This is Genesis 17:7, and it says, and this proves that this salvation, this covenant, you know, this agreement, you know, the only reason that we are going to be saved, the Israelites are going to be put back in power, is because the Most High made a covenant with our forefathers, man, and he only made a covenant with one nation of people upon the earth. And it says right here, it says, it's a lot. Yeah, Khan, going back all the way to Abraham. So I'm gonna start up at verse 17, verse 1, Genesis 17:1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty Power, walk before me and be thou perfect. Let's get these words perfect, man. And be thou perfect, walk before me, be blameless. You know, so how we do that? By following the law, statutes, commandments to the best of our ability. That's called obedience. That's called love. That's one of the ways you become perfect in the eyes of the Most High. And by the redemption and blood sacrifice that was given to us, that was given for us by Yahushai. And I will make my covenant. Let's get that word covenant. It says alliance pledge. So he made a pledge unto the children of Israel, to our forefather Abraham. A pledge between alliance, league, constitution, ordinance, agreement, pledge, alliance between God and man, covenant. So that's what it is. It's a pledge. It's an alliance, man. You know, that we are going to be as people. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and multiply thee exceedingly. Because what came out of the what ultimately came out of the loins of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob, you know. And out of Jacob came the 12 tribes of Israel. And Abram fell on his face, and Yahweh talked with, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. And that's what that word Abraham means. It means father of many nations, father of the multitude. Neither shall thy name be any more called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. Let's get that word Abraham. God, father of a multitude. It's not talking about all the nations of the earth, like these false pastors and preachers like to explain it. It's talking about the multitude of people, the multitude of nations that make up the Israelites, that make up the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what it's talking about, man. Because this is a heritage. This is a heritage by blood. It's an inheritance by blood, by bloodline. You know, and by faith we believe that our bloodline, you know, going back to our fathers and our fathers' fathers, go back to the Israelites, man. And this is proven through scriptures, and it's proven by the Spirit. It says that I'll make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generations. So there it is. I will establish my covenant between me, thee, and thy seed. So let's get that word seed. Descendants, man. It's not so that spiritual Israelism is blown out the water by this verse alone. So the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is who the covenant is established with. And you got that vocab alone trying to go back to the book of going back to the covenant that Most High made about the flood, thinking that that's for all people, man. All nations is not. Think that the covenant Most High is for all nations. No, man, this is a different covenant. This is the covenant of salvation. This is the covenant of promised people that we're talking about right here. The covenant that was made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It says, and I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generations for everlasting covenant to be a power unto thee and thy seed. Now, once again, I'm going to go back to descendants. After thee, and I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan. Because that's our so-called fatherland, which is today's terms called Israel or Palestine, whatever you want to say, for an everlasting possession, and that will be the power. That's pretty much the headquarters, man. So that explains it right there. That escaping out of the house of bondage, escaping out of the spiritual Egypt, the covenant of salvation, the covenant of redemption is only for the Israelites, man, not for no other people upon planet Earth. Instead, I'm going to get some more scripture. This is Deuteronomy 6 and 4, and it says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy power." I gotta put an emphasis on the first verse right there. It says, "Hear, O Israel." It didn't say the other nations. It didn't say, "Hear, O Moab, hear, O Edom, hear, O Ishmael." It specifically says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. Thou shalt talk with them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy head. Thou shalt be as fronted between thy eyes. Thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates." It's talking about the word, man. Basically, the commandments, the law, statutes, commandments that were given unto the nation of Israel. This will make us a great people. The order, man. Basically, it comes down to order that was given to our people. An order of doing things, an order of thinking, an order of eating, an order of handling different affairs. That one makes the people great. Order. So this law, statute, commandment that were given to us by the Most High makes us a people of order. "And it shall be when the Lord thy power shall have brought thee into the land of which he sware unto thy father, to Abraham, to Isaac, and Jacob, to give thee good and great goodly cities which thou buildest not." So once again, that emphasizes our fathers. So descendants, man, going back to that word, the seed, descendants, thy fathers to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. These are our forefathers. These are the patriarchs, man. It goes back to that bloodline, plain and simple. And these Christian churches, they try to use their replacement theology to try to fit themselves and every other nation, into the promise of salvation, into the promise of redemption, man. With that, I'm gonna get Jeremiah 31 and 1. Which is put that over there. Jeremiah 31 and 1. And it says, "The same time says the Most High, will I be a power of all the families of Israel, and they shall be my people." So once again, it emphasizes that it's only for the nation of Israel. Look at the word families. It says a clan, family, tribe, people, nation. So that's what it is for the nation of Israel, and they shall be my peoples, possessive noun, man. Thus saith the Most High, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest. So basically, the scripture, the point of it in verse 1, man. The tribes of Israel, they are the people of the Most High, the children of Israel, the nation of Israel. Our power is Yahweh. Our power is the Heavenly Father, the true God, the only power, in the whole universe, man. There is no Buddha, there is no Allah. There is no other thing in His Son, Mashiach Yahweh Shai, of the world in the cross, Jesus Christ. This is who our forefathers. This is who we bow down and worship to. This is who our forefathers, made a covenant with. So with that, I'm gonna get Deuteronomy 5 and 15. Deuteronomy 5 and 15. It says, Remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt, and that Lord thy power brought thee out of thence through a mighty hand and a stretched out arm. Before the Lord thy power commanded thee to keep the Sabbath days. There's a separation that we have to undertake, man. To be in the good graces with the Most High, man. So remember that thou was a servant in the land of Egypt. We are a servant right now. We are a servant in the land of Egypt right now. And that the Lord thy power brought thee out of them through a mighty hand. And once again, we are going to get redeemed with a mighty hand. By the chariots. That's going to be the mighty hand of the Most High, and it's by a stretched out arm. The Lord thy power commanded thee to keep the Sabbath this day. So this goes into the 10 Commandments that was only given to this part of a small part of the law, to the commandments is only given to the Israelites. Only given to the Israelites. Now there's plenty of scriptures that you can go get into that prove this fact, not a theory but a fact. Deuteronomy 7:8, but because the Lord loved you and because He will keep the oath which He swore unto your fathers. So that goes back to go back to bloodline, go back to descendants. How the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So salvation, redemption from America, from the chariot, from the missiles, from Esau, Edom, it's only going to be to the elect. It's only going to be to the Israelites. The kingdom of heaven is only going to be for the Israelites, man. Plain and simple. There's many scriptures that you can bring out to prove that, and that's just what it is. And these elites, they know this, and these people, they know this, man. They know this. They know that it's fact. They know it's been brought out, and they know that it's true. So with that being said, just a real quick lesson. Was I willing? I hope it was edifying. Was that I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Let's keep on pushing. Shalom.